Hello. Today we're going over the Reteach retest review for biomolecules. We're going to start with organ systems and their functions. The function of the digestive system is B, to help break down food for nutrients. The circulatory system is A, it transports nutrients, oxygens, and waste. And the endocrine system is C, it makes hormones to regulate body functions. Number 4, what is the difference between a monomer and a polymer? Well, a monomer is a single part. Remember that mono means one. Monomers come together to make polymers. Remember that poly means many. Number 5, we're going to use the word list below to compare the major biomolecules. We're going to start with the main elements. For carbohydrates, it's CHO, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. For lipids, it's also CHO, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. For proteins, it's CHON, C-H-O-N, for carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Finally, for nucleic acids, it's CHOMP, C-H-O-N-P, and that's for carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and finally, phosphorus. The monomers, for carbohydrates, it's a monosaccharide. Remember that monosaccharides are sugars and sugars are carbohydrates. For lipids, it's going to be fatty acids and glycerol. For proteins, it's going to be amino acids. Remember, there are 20 different types of amino acids, and they are all proteins. And finally, for nucleic acids, it's nucleotides. The functions are uses for these organisms. Functions are uses in organisms. For carbohydrates, it's a source of quick energy. For lipids, it's stored energy, which insulates and makes up cell membranes. It also makes up cell walls, and it protects organs. For proteins, it builds and repairs tissues. It's also a catalyst for reactions with enzymes. Remember, enzymes are proteins. And finally, for nucleic acids, it stores and transmits genetic information. Finally, for examples, carbohydrate examples are monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. For lipids, it's fats, oils, waxes, and steroids. For proteins, it's hormones, antibodies, muscle, hair, nails, and of course, enzymes. For nucleic acids, it's DNA, RNA, and we're also going to add ATP, which carries the energy. On our list, we also have sugars and starches, like cellulose. That's going to be a carbohydrate as well. Remember, sugars ending in OSE. Anything ending in OSE is a sugar and therefore a carbohydrate. Starches and cellulose and chitin. All right, number 6, enzymes usually, but not always, end in the letters ASE. Remember, sugar ends in OSE, enzymes end in ASE. Enzymes are catalysts, and what do catalysts do? Catalysts help speed up the rates of chemical reactions. What are the substances that enzymes act upon? Those are called substrates. Again, enzymes act with substrates, and then they turn the substrates into products. What is the activation energy? It's the amount of energy needed to start a chemical reaction. Every chemical reaction needs energy. What does an enzyme do? Well, the enzyme lowers the amount of energy needed to start the reaction. So again, activation energy is the amount of energy needed. An enzyme lowers that amount of energy. Number 11, what are the 3 factors that the rate of enzyme activity depends on, other than its shape? It's going to depend on temperature, the pH level, and the exposure to other chemicals. Number 12, which substrate will most likely react with the enzyme pictured below? Again, enzymes and substrates fit together like a lock and key. If they don't match together, they're not going to react together and they're not going to make their products. So they have to perfectly match, just like a puzzle piece. So the substrate that matches to this enzyme is D. Number 13, a lab with the liver and hydrogen peroxide can be described by the chemical reaction below. The reactant for this reaction is, well, remember, reactions start the chemical reaction. So this is going to be the hydrogen peroxide. The products for this reaction, remember, the substrates turn into products. So the products are going to be water and oxygen. So that's it for the review for the Reteach retest over biomolecules. If you have any questions, be sure to ask your teacher before you take your makeup test.